All right, good morning, family. Peace. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at, I don't like how the mic sound. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency. And today is Tuesday. End of the month for those, beginning of the month, payday for others. But again, we thank you for being here, especially at Consistency is Currency. What we do here on this platform is to allow creative thought mixed and blend with your passion, mixed and blend with your efforts, and also give you constructive thoughts as well to allow you to begin to think from a different perspective and begin to grow from there. Again, like we always say, make sure you share. There's those that are watching on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification button as well, just so we can begin to grow, learn, and to understand more about ourselves and what and how consistency will create currency for you, not just from a monetary standpoint, but also from a standpoint to where you're learning and adding value to yourself as you grow and as you begin to develop. So make sure you go ahead and give me the emoji, give me a good morning, give me something, because what happens when you do that? It pushes the algorithm and allows the algorithm to do what it's supposed to do, which is to expand and extend past where it is right now. So, all right, so we're going to get into it. I know some of y'all saw this right here was like the sunken place. What is he talking about the sunken place? So I've learned something about this. Well, I'll just jump into it. All right, here we go. The sunken place. Now, I want to teach you something that I think could be and will be very beneficial for you, especially when you begin to learn it and to see this for what it is and also see it for yourself. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it so we can learn this real quick lesson. I'm definitely not going to be on here long. Just want to add value to your morning, as also I want to add value to what you are learning to add value to yourself as well. All right, so let's jump into it. The definition of a suck supposed to be sunk is having sunk or being submerged. Having sunk or being submerged. I hate that mistake was there, but I'll correct that on the other end. All right, the having the value of being submerged. Now I want to teach you something. It may be a word that has been introduced to you or a word that is familiar to others, which is fallacy. Fallacy is a mistaken belief or a faulty reasoning or misleading. I'm going to say that again. A fallacy is a mistaken belief or a faulty reasoning, misleading. So now we're going to bring it home. And as we begin to add more to it. So the etymology of fallacy is a fallaere, which is Latin, fallaere, which means deceive, and fallac, which means deceiving. The etymology of fallacy is a Latin word which means deceive or deceiving. And we're going to jump dead into it because I want to teach you something called the sunk cost fallacy. Putting those two words together, sunk and fallacy, I want to teach you about the sunk cost fallacy, because the sunk cost fallacy, as you can see right here, it is whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily in it, even when it's clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. Again, the sunk cost fallacy is whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily in it, even when it's clear that it to be abandoned would be more beneficial. So how many of us have actually said, well, I'm already in it, so I might as well stay in it. I've invested too much time in it, so I might as well stay in it. So we're going to jump dead into the cost of the sunk cost fallacy, and how it could actually be detrimental to your life, and how it can be very, very destructive to your cognitive process of thought. But one of the things I want you to make sure that you understand is learning how to let go. Because remember, a sunk cost fallacy says is a person who is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily into it. Remember yesterday we were talking about pivoting to the moon. Pivoting to the moon is actually getting to that point in time to where you know that that pivot is actually going to take you into a different direction. But if you're that person that is holding on to it, if you're in that sunken place or that sunk cost fallacy, you're going to be very reluctant in abandoning that strategy or the course of action, because you're going to feel that you have you're going to feel that you have invested heavily so much into it that you don't want to let go. Now, don't base your current decisions, as you can see, don't base your current decisions on what you have already invested. So the concept behind that, have you ever went to a movie, and that movie, like, well, in this area, you have military tickets and you have non-military tickets. But have you ever invested into a movie and you sat through the entire movie because you felt, well, I've already paid for it, so I might as well sit this one out? You have to understand that you don't have to sit in that movie. You don't have to sit there and endure because, oh, I paid for it, so I might as well. But looking at it from an economic perspective, the money has already been paid. But walking out of the movie, you feel that you're reluctant in changing the course because you have already paid into it. But you can actually make a decision and to walk out, because your peace and your sanity is well worth more than the value of the $8 or $10 ticket that you paid. So you're going to have to learn and understand that it is okay to let go. It is okay to walk away from something that you have already invested your time in, because you may be at that moment when it's time for you to pivot, and you have to be okay with that. That, again, is learning how to let go, because that is that sunk cost fallacy. The sunk and the cost of it has already been paid, but your peace and your sanity is worth more than that. It's just like being in a relationship to where you say, you know what, my peace and my sanity is much greater than me staying in this relationship. So I'm going to choose me, and I'm going to go in a different direction. Again, that is still considered a sunk cost fallacy. It's not a mistake in walking away. It is a decision that you made, that it is better to choose you in that time to pivot and go into a different direction. And that's you being okay with that decision that you made. And something that I want you to learn and to see right now, as you can see right now, it says, see it for what it is. That means changing your course isn't quitting. Changing your course is still based off of wisdom, ensuring that you understand that the decision that you're making is based off of all of the proper and prior calculations, that it is best for me to stop while I'm ahead. It is best for me to choose me. It is best for me to see this for what it is, because this is actually a move that is going to be detrimental. So I know that I need to change my thoughts. I need to change my direction. I need to understand that I don't want to be in this sunken place, because I feel that in this hole that I dug myself in, that I did it, so I might as well stay in it. No, you can get out of that hole. You can change the course based off of changing how you think. Don't get so caught up in the fallacies of the misleading thoughts that you don't put yourself in a position to think better. You don't put yourself in a position to think stronger, and you don't put yourself in a position that is going to ultimately change the course of where you're going, because you look at it as, I'm in this sunken space. I'm in this sunken place. And in order for me to get out of this sunken place, I am going to have to see it for what it is. It is an emotional hole that you are in, but don't stay in that hole, because the hole that you may find yourself in may be misleading. It is not a hole. It could be a bind that you put yourself in that may just be for that moment. And you do have the ability to change the course. And remember, changing your course is not quitting. Changing your course may be applying wisdom to the decision that you're making and being okay with the decision that you chose. Now, when you're making and looking at that sunken cost fallacy, I want you to be crystal clear in that decision. I want you to be so clear in your decision that you understand that this is an inefficient walk. This walk that you're walking in this sunken space that you're staying near for an illegitimate reason, because the cost has already been calculated, because you have already made a decision. And you have to understand that I am so clear that this is not a space that I want to be in. I am so clear that this is not a place that I should be in. So I'm not going to continue to walk down this inefficient trail, that I need to change my course and go in a direction that is going to be beneficial to me, because it's going to make me think a whole lot stronger. It is going to change my thought process. It's going to change my concept to make things better. It may not just be a decision that you're going to have to make for you. Have you ever made a decision that once it was made, it was beneficial for everyone? Once it was made, it was not just beneficial for the greater part of you, but it was probably a decision that was based on the greater good of the group or the greater good of the relationship that you was in. You don't have to be in that inefficient walk, but be crystal clear in a decision that you're making, because you don't have to stay in that sunk cost fallacy because you put too much time into it, or stay in that sunk cost fallacy because you put money into it. I want you to understand that you can walk away from an investment, because there is always time for you to invest into something else. There is always time for you to invest your time into another thing. It's just like getting a book and you're opening that book. You might have read the preface and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a good book. But then you start reading the book. And then when you get into the middle of the book, you're like, you know what? I don't really like this book. You can put it down. It won't hurt you to put the book down, but don't be so misleading because you paid for the book that you have to read the book all the way through. There might have been something in the book, in the middle of the book, that you wasn't feeling because it didn't fit the who you are. It didn't fit the values that you carry. But you have to be willing to walk away from it to protect the who that you are and to protect the best part of you. But be crystal clear when walking away that the walk that you're on, you have to be effective in that walk, and knowing that you don't have to walk in an inefficient way, but face the value of it as well. So you have to understand that sunk cost fallacy could be a detrimental hold on you. Change the way you think, and I guarantee you will begin to change the way you see things. Because a sunk cost fallacy could be the beginning of a process of a thinking trap. That thinking trap, because you feel that, oh, I've been in it for a long time. I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing so much in my community that I have to stay here. No, you can actually move and still be great, because the innate you, or the God-given gift inside of you, is something that you can do anywhere that you go. So don't stay in those thinking traps that I have to stay here to do it. No, you can go and do something somewhere else and still be great. So I'm gonna tell you a story that I've learned, and it's an old African way, because I'm sure they catch monkeys in a different way now. So the story that I learned is when they get this gourd, and in this gourd they put a fruit inside the gourd. The curiosity of the monkey is going to, well, the monkey is hungry. It's just like you. You're hungry for what's next. You're hungry for success. But the fruit that's inside the gourd is going to allow you to reach in. And when you reach inside that gourd, what happens is the monkey puts his hand inside the gourd that is holding on to the fruit. That detrimental hold is holding on to the fruit so much and so long that it refuses to let it go. And because that monkey refused to let it go, that monkey is now trapped. It's so focused on getting the fruit out that it did not recognize that it was placed in a detrimental place, that now it becomes prey. Now it becomes it's in a trap that it can't get itself out of, because it's so focused and fixated on getting the fruit out that it is not looking at, maybe I should let this go and live and see another day. Don't be the monkey that refused to let go. Don't be the monkey that refused to stay in that sunken space because you feel that I should be here, or I should be doing this, or not looking at it from, I'm going to live to see another day because I need to make this decision now. I don't want to fall in this thinking trap. I don't want to be in this detrimental hold. Let go is not quitting. Letting go is probably allowing you to consolidate your thoughts, reorganizing your way of thinking, and it's going to allow you to pivot in a direction that is going to be beneficial for you. Get out of those thinking traps. Get out of that thinking trap. You don't have to stay in that sunken place, because you have the ability and the wisdom to learn how to walk away. You have the ability and the wisdom to stand up for yourself. You have the ability and the wisdom to change how you think, which is going to ultimately change your conclusion and your outcome. You don't have to hold on to that fruit. What if you don't even like that fruit? That's crazy, right? That monkey reached into that gourd and is holding on to the fruit because it smelled good. But the monkey had never tasted the fruit, and that monkey held on so long that it died, because now it's being rotisserie, but it was holding on to that fruit for so long that it never got the taste of fruit, but it killed itself because it refused to let go. Don't be like that monkey. Don't be so caught up and fixated in your sunken place that you don't recognize that it is time for you to walk away from that particular thing. That's the sunken space, y'all. That's the sunken cost fallacy. Don't get caught up in those misleading things, or caught up in the misleading, the nature of things that you're so afraid to let go. You can be great no matter where you are. You can be great no matter who you're with. You can be great at any pivot, because when you make that wise decision, because again, wisdom is wise words, ways, and actions. When you make that wise decision to tell yourself that I don't have to be here, even though I paid $10 for this movie, I do have an option to walk away. I do have an option to choose me. I do have an option to go and do something else, because you can get it back. Because the one thing that you can't get back is the investment of time. So the money that you put into it, you can walk away from it and go do something else that you feel is going to be beneficial for you. All right, that's my time, and I want y'all to understand and make sure that you understand. If you get the sunk cost fallacy, put sunk inside the chat. SUNC. Sunk. SUNK. You got it. Sunk. Because I want you to think better. Because what's better for you is what's best for you. And I'm going to say that again. What is better for you is what is best for you. And y'all be blessed. Consistency is definitely currency. Why? Because we're not going to fall and stay in that sunken space, and we're going to get out of those thinking traps. Y'all be